Hey everyone, off the Mike Sports Network here. We're reacting to the first day, Saturday wild card round in the NFL postseason. Um, Chargers lose to the Texans 32-12. But that's not what this video is about. This is the bigger story coming out of the first day of the NFL postseason is the Steelers lose again in the playoffs, 28-14 this time to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens advance to the next round. No surprise really here. If you've been watching the Steelers for the latter portion of the season, this was heading in this direction for another one and done season for Pittsburgh. Um, but this has been a topic of discussion that we're gonna get into here. Um, I've talked about it on this channel with Danny Udelf, one of my best friends, the biggest Pittsburgh Steeler fan that I know. He's wanted Mike Tomlin gone for years. We've talked about it even with the incredible start to this season. He's an overachiever in the regular season, but then seems to fade away when it matters most. But it is now clear as day with this loss to the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round, falling all the way down to the sixth spot, losing to a division rival, getting run over, and looking like they had no fight in the first half of this game. It's clear as day that the Steelers need to move off of Mike Tomlin. I know it's not something that they normally do. Um, and for all the people in the national media saying, "How could you fire Mike Tomlin?" It's like, listen, the Steelers are actually in a very advantageous position if they want to move off of Mike Tomlin. They could trade him to whoever the hell they want and get some capital back for him. We'll talk about that aspect of this in a second. Here's the reason why this is not working anymore. As great of a reputation as Mike Tomlin has, never had a losing season in his entire career, which is as a head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, spans almost 2 decades. But here's all that you need to know of why this is not working, because it's great that you have the reputation of, winning all of these games in the regular season, finishing over 500, making the postseason. When you're the Pittsburgh Steelers organization and you are tied for the most Super Bowl wins ever at 6, tied with the New England Patriots. But here's the sad part about the whole thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers, and I had to do some research, some crack research here on this to crunch the numbers of the exact last day where the Pittsburgh Steelers won a playoff game, which is bizarre because of, like I said, this is a proud and one of the best brands in all the NFL, one of the most historic franchises in the league. 6 Super Bowls. I said it already. January 15th, 2017. This was part of the 2016 postseason. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They went on to go play the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots beat them in that game to go to the Super Bowl. Since that point, the Pittsburgh Steelers have not won a playoff game. Depending on when you're watching this, this is around 8 years' time. We're recording this on January 11th. That is almost 8 years to the day the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers won a playoff football game. That is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous to be going close to a decade without winning a postseason game. Here's the other thing. You guys know I'm a Browns fan. Do you know since the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers won a playoff game, the Browns have more playoff wins than they do? Yeah, they beat them in that 2020 playoff opener. It was in January of 21. But yeah, they went to Pittsburgh and beat them on their field. Granted, there was nobody in the stadium, but still, it's a playoff win. I mean, it was a COVID season, but still, the Browns have more playoff wins. They may not have as many playoff appearances as the Steelers do in that time since that last playoff win back in 2017, but the Browns have won more playoff games than the Pittsburgh Steelers have. That is as big of an indictment on this franchise as there ever was. A team that prides itself on postseason success. I said it. 6 Super Bowls. But yeah, they haven't won. They went to the Super Bowl in let's crunch the numbers here. They went to the Super Bowl back we're going all the way back to the 2011 year, the 2010 season with the Green Bay Packers. That's when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl. So they haven't won a Super Bowl. You go all the way back to 2009. They haven't won a Super Bowl now in now we're at 16 years, I think, if we're doing the math correctly here. So 16 years since they beat the Arizona Cardinals in that 2009 championship. It was the 2008 season. So um yeah, this has become unacceptable for me. Like, and I listen, I've had to, like, snicker at some of the, Pittsburgh Steelers fans who are like, yeah, we deserve better because, but the standard is there. And especially when I just gave you the numbers, we're going close to 2 decades without a Super Bowl win. We're going on close to 15 years without making a Super Bowl, and we're going on close to a decade with this franchise not even winning a playoff game. And one of your biggest rivals, who's been a laughing stock in that rivalry, in my Cleveland Browns, has more playoff wins since your last one than you do. That is just as big of evidence that they need to move off of Mike Tomlin. I'm not saying Mike Tomlin isn't a good coach, but whatever is going on here in Pittsburgh, it is not working. And with the standard that this organization has, you've got to make a move. And then you cap this off. This team, the Steelers, started 10-3. They beat my Cleveland Browns on December 8th, 27-14. Since that point, they did not win a football game the rest of the year. They lost 5 consecutive games, including the Saturday loss to the Ravens. They lost to Philadelphia. They lost to Baltimore. They lost to Kansas City. And then they lost to Cincinnati at the end of the year, 19-17. So, and then they lose this game 28-14. But it's just they got so. And then let's also look at their postseason success. So then 36 to 17 in the conference championship game in 2017 to the Patriots. They lose 45-42 to the Jags in the year 2018, the 2017 playoffs. I mentioned to you, then they missed the playoffs in 18 and 19. And then in the 2020 playoffs in 2021, that game against the Browns, 48-37. Browns jump out to an enormous lead in that game. The Chiefs then destroy them in the 2021 wild card round, 42-21. And then last year, Buffalo played in a weird Monday game. They lose 31-17. That was kind of the reverse of the season. The Steelers fought their way into the playoffs last year. This was the other way, where they just fell apart down the stretch. And to me, the lack of postseason success and the just tailspin that this organization and this team went on down the stretch of the year to finish 10-7 in the regular season, losing 4 in the row in the regular season, and then losing their opener, one of their biggest rivals, one of the great rivalries in this division. And you lose 28-14. You don't look really competitive for a half. You fight back a little bit. But at this point, if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not saying they need to fire him, because I think that'd be stupid, because Mike Tomlin is going to get scooped up by somebody. But at a certain point, you run out of time. Like the Bengals did this with Marvin Lewis, and they didn't have a ton of postseason success. Like, sometimes organizations don't want to be the one to fire him. So I honestly think there's a market for Mike Tomlin in what is not the greatest coaching market out there. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you have an overpaid defense, you're struggling at the quarterback position, you need to get assets, and you need to, get some pieces and potentially a future quarterback, because I don't think Russell Wilson's the answer. It's clear that they don't believe in Justin Fields because they benched him for Russell Wilson. So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you've got to at least, broach the idea, hey, anybody interested in Mike Tomlin? Because I think you could get a high draft pick, maybe even a first-round pick for Mike Tomlin. And that way, this is really an amicable split. Because I think on some level, Mike Tomlin has earned the right to, for this to be an amicable split. And considering what this organization is, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they do not fire coaches. They are known for longevity and stability within the head coaching position. Bill Cowher retired. Chuck Noll retired. Like, this organization does not do this. So I don't think they're going to fire him, but I do think they need to consider moving off of him. And because there is going to be the option, somebody is going to want him. whether it be the Bears, whether it be the Jets, whether it be any of these open jobs. If the Cowboys open up and they don't renew with Mike McCarthy, I think a lot of these organizations are going to at least think of the possibility to bring in a Mike Tomlin, and maybe with a fresh start in a different system in a different way, Mike Tomlin can potentially win it. But I think the era of the Tomlin era in Pittsburgh is done. It's done. Like I said, you can't be going close to 2 decades without winning a Super Bowl. You can't be going more than a decade without making it to the Super Bowl. And on top of it, you can't be going close to 10 years without just winning a playoff game. Because I said the biggest indictment on this Pittsburgh Steelers organization and the head coaching of Mike Tomlin is, yes, all of their regular season success, none of the no non-losing no losing seasons at all. He's had every single one of them has been a non-losing season, whether they've been 500 or they've been over 500. They've never been under the 500 mark. The biggest indictment that you need to know is since their last playoff win, the Cleveland Browns have won one more playoff game than they have. And that's more than they've had in that stretch of like 7-8 years. And it was the Browns that beat Pittsburgh on their field when the Steelers won the division that year. Mind you, the Cleveland Browns, who hadn't won a playoff game in like 25 plus years, like it's just insane to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in this manner when it comes to their head coaching position. So, a lot of people, I snickered at the idea in local media. The national media has really kind of brushed it off. I've been kind of on this train for a couple years because, yeah, it's great that even with, what would appear to be, a depleted roster, the Steelers have kind of overachieved in the regular season to mask a lot of the deficiencies that have happened and shown up in the playoffs. But you can't have what transpired down the stretch of the season with the combination of all the numbers that I threw out to you from playoffs and the fact that they were 10-3 in position to win this division, and they lose their last 4 regular season games, and then they lose to a division rival in the playoff game where they did not look inspired at all. They fell behind 21-0. This feels over. So I do think that we're going to head towards a split here. Where Mike Tomlin will end up, I have no idea. Whether he is fired, which I don't think is going to happen, or is traded, he's going to be a commodity. But the Steelers they've got to change something. This has been going on for a long time, and it's just like one is an accident, two is a trend. And like when I give you all those numbers and I repeat it just for effect and just like how proud this organization is, like how, for God's sake, the Patriots moved off of Bill Belichick. They moved off of Bill Belichick after 20 years and 6 Super Bowls. If the Patriots can do that, then the Pittsburgh Steelers can damn sure move off of Mike Tomlin. It's not that hard. And I think they will be able to get something for him. And this won't be like some sort of faulty, messy firing situation. There's enough respect between both parties, but it's time. It's time. So anyway, we'll have more here on the channel reacting to a lot of this stuff. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.